Being nice often means sacrificing self-worth, and that sacrifice can slowly chip away at your identity. You find yourself saying yes when your heart is screaming no. You bend and twist to accommodate the needs, wants, and expectations of others, often at the expense of your own desires and dreams. You become the one who stays quiet in moments where your voice should roar, the one who smiles through discomfort to keep the peace, the one who holds back your true feelings for fear of being seen as difficult or demanding. Over time, this pattern becomes more than just a habit. It becomes a way of life. You begin to lose sight of your own needs. You forget what it means to prioritize yourself. And soon enough, you've allowed others to dictate your worth. The more you give, the more people expect, and the less you get in return. You're praised for being nice, but deep inside, you're left feeling unappreciated, undervalued, and even invisible. When you're always striving to be the nice girl, your self-worth becomes entangled with the approval of others, and you find yourself giving more and receiving less, all in the name of being liked, being accepted, or simply avoiding conflict. The tragedy is you become disconnected from the very core of who you are, losing yourself in the process. Kindness does not equal weakness, though many people mistakenly conflate the two. Being kind is a choice, an act of grace that comes from a place of inner strength, not from a position of submission. It takes courage to show kindness in a world that often equates power with dominance and aggression. When you choose to respond with kindness, you are not shrinking back or avoiding conflict. Instead, you are exercising control over how you engage with others. Kindness requires you to rise above pettiness, to see the humanity in others, even when they may not deserve it. It's not about allowing people to take advantage of you or being a pushover, but rather about choosing to act with dignity and compassion. The power in kindness lies in its ability to build bridges, to create understanding, and to foster relationships based on mutual respect. It is a deliberate and conscious decision to treat others with care, even in the face of adversity, knowing that doing so does not diminish your own value or strength. Set boundaries with confidence, because boundaries are the foundation of self-respect. When you set clear limits, you are communicating to the world what you will and will not tolerate. Boundaries are not about keeping people out, but about protecting your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. They allow you to preserve your energy, focus on what truly matters, and maintain a healthy balance in your life. Setting boundaries requires courage, especially in a society that often encourages self-sacrifice over self-care. It's not easy to say no when you've been conditioned to please others, to avoid conflict, or to fear rejection. But setting boundaries is an act of self-love. It's standing firm in the knowledge that your needs are valid and deserve to be honored. When you establish boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, and you take control of your own narrative. Boundaries don't make you selfish, they make you strong. They allow you to engage with others from a place of wholeness rather than resentment or depletion. Boundaries are about making space for yourself in a world that often demands too much, and doing so unapologetically, with the full understanding that protecting your peace is essential to living a fulfilled life. Embrace assertiveness, because it is a skill that empowers you to take control of your life. Express your true feelings and ensure your voice is heard. Assertiveness is not about being aggressive or domineering, but about standing up for yourself in a way that is firm yet respectful. It's the ability to communicate your needs, desires, and boundaries without hesitation, fear, or guilt. Being assertive allows you to own your choices and your space, ensuring that you are not overshadowed or silenced by the expectations or demands of others. It's about claiming your right to exist fully and authentically without having to constantly seek approval or validation. For many, assertiveness may feel uncomfortable, especially if you've been conditioned to keep the peace, avoid confrontation, or put others first. You might worry that by being assertive, you'll be seen as rude or difficult, or that you'll upset others. But the reality is, assertiveness is a necessary tool for maintaining healthy relationships, both personally and professionally. When you communicate assertively, you are being honest about your needs and wants, which fosters a level of mutual respect that passive behavior cannot. It eliminates misunderstandings, sets clear expectations, and ensures that your time, energy, and emotions are not exploited by those who expect you to comply out of politeness or fear of conflict. Being assertive also means trusting yourself, trusting that your opinions matter, that your feelings are valid, and that your perspective deserves to be acknowledged. It's about standing in your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, and not backing down simply to make others feel comfortable. Assertiveness means giving yourself permission to disagree, to say no without justification, and to walk away from situations that no longer serve you. It is the antidote to people pleasing and the fear of rejection, because it requires you to prioritize your own well-being even when others may not like it. The power of assertiveness lies in its ability to shift dynamics in your favor. When you are assertive, you send a clear message that you will not be taken for granted, that you are not willing to compromise your values or your needs just to fit in or make others happy. You take control of how you are treated, how you spend your time, and how much you are willing to give. This doesn't mean you become unyielding or inflexible. Rather, it allows you to negotiate from a position of strength where your voice carries weight and your choices are respected. Assertiveness is a skill that can be practiced and refined. It requires you to confront the fear of confrontation, to unlearn patterns of passivity, and to trust that you are worthy of taking up space. Each time you assert yourself, you strengthen your confidence and reinforce your sense of self. It is not about proving anything to anyone else. It is about affirming your own value and ensuring that you are treated with the dignity and respect you deserve. Assertiveness liberates you from the need to be nice all the time, showing you that you can still be kind, compassionate, and caring while also being firm, direct, and unapologetic about your needs. In the end, embracing assertiveness means embracing yourself, your power, your voice, your right to be heard. It's about no longer shrinking to fit into spaces that aren't meant for you, or staying silent to avoid making waves. Assertiveness allows you to navigate life on your own terms with clarity, confidence, and a deep sense of self-respect. Redefine your identity, because far too often the way you see yourself is shaped by external influences, by what society, family, friends, or colleagues expect of you. These expectations may have subtly or even overtly dictated the way you behave, the roles you assume, and the decisions you make. Over time, you may have found yourself living according to labels and narratives that don't fully represent who you are, or worse, that stifle your true self. Redefining your identity means stepping out of these constraints and embracing a new understanding of who you are, one that is grounded in your own truth, values, and desires. This process begins with introspection. You have to pause and ask yourself the tough questions. Who am I outside of what people expect me to be? What do I really want from life? What beliefs and habits have I outgrown? Often we don't realize how much of our identity has been built around being the nice girl or the responsible one, the helper or the silent supporter. These roles can be comforting because they offer a sense of belonging, but they can also be limiting. They keep you locked in a cycle of behavior that may no longer serve your highest good. Redefining your identity involves shedding those roles and stepping into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. This process is not without discomfort. It requires you to confront your fears of rejection, judgment, or disappointment from others. Redefining your identity means that some relationships might shift and some people may not understand or support the changes you make. But remember, you cannot build your life around pleasing others or maintaining roles that suppress your potential. Redefining your identity means being willing to disappoint some people in order to stop disappointing yourself. It means living in alignment with your true self, not the version of you that others find convenient. A key aspect of redefining your identity is letting go of past definitions that no longer align with who you've become. You might have identified as someone who always says yes, someone who is always available, always agreeable, always putting others first. But growth requires change. And part of that change is recognizing when old patterns no longer reflect the person you are evolving into. You don't have to be the person who tolerates mistreatment just to avoid conflict. You don't have to be the one who carries everyone else's burdens at the expense of your own peace. Redefining your identity is about embracing the fact that you are allowed to evolve, to shift, and to rewrite your own narrative as you see fit. It also involves recognizing and reclaiming your power. So much of your identity may have been tied to the approval of others, leading you to seek external validation for your worth. But redefining your identity means realizing that your worth is inherent. It does not fluctuate based on how others perceive you. You are not limited by the opinions of others, nor are you defined by your past mistakes or the labels people have placed on you. The power to define who you are rests solely with you. This is a liberating realization because it frees you from the need to conform or fit into a box that society has created for you. You are more than the roles you play in other people's lives. You are a complex, multifaceted individual with dreams, goals, and desires that are entirely your own. Redefining your identity also means giving yourself permission to explore new possibilities. You are not confined to the person you were yesterday or last year. Each day, you have the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become more aligned with your true self. You might discover new passions, new strengths, and new ways of expressing yourself that you never considered before. The process of self-discovery is ongoing, and redefining your identity is about embracing this journey without fear or hesitation. It's about giving yourself the freedom to evolve and to redefine what success, happiness, and fulfillment look like for you on your own terms. This is not to say that you completely abandon everything about your past self. Redefining your identity is not about erasing who you were, but rather about integrating the lessons and experiences from your past into a new, more authentic version of yourself. It's about acknowledging your growth and using it to propel you forward, not hold you back. You take the wisdom of your past and the clarity of your present to craft a future that feels right for you. In doing so, you become the author of your own story rather than a character in someone else's script. Ultimately, redefining your identity means choosing yourself. It means no longer allowing others to dictate who you should be or how you should live. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of living a life that reflects your true desires, not just the expectations of others. It's about breaking free from the limitations that have been placed on you and stepping into a new version of yourself, one that is confident, empowered, and unapologetically authentic. In conclusion, it's time to stop being the nice girl and step into your full power. You are not here to live according to the expectations of others, constantly sacrificing your worth for the sake of pleasing everyone around you. Kindness does not mean weakness, and setting boundaries is an act of strength, not selfishness. Embrace assertiveness, own your voice, claim your space, and stand firm in your truth. Above all, redefine your identity in a way that reflects who you truly are, not who the world says you should be. You are more than the roles you've played, and you are more than the limitations others have placed upon you. Your journey is about becoming the best, most authentic version of yourself, living boldly and unapologetically. When you do, you'll discover the true power and peace that comes from choosing yourself.